good morning and welcome to the VSA 5-Minute Morning Miner on Friday, the 15th of August. And it's going to be another hot, beautiful day. It's going to be a hot, beautiful weekend. The summer is really here. Morning, Paul.
Well, good morning to you. Going to do any barbecuing over the weekend then?
I may, although I must admit I've got a wedding. I've got to attend a niece tomorrow. And then, of course, on Sunday, for those that haven't forgotten, I am flying to Mexico for 2 weeks to see Avino, Luca, Sierra Madre, and Guanajuato Silver. And I will be reporting back on all of those. Look, I mean, I think obviously I'm going out there because we are big bulls of silver still. We can see $5,000 on the gold price. And if the silver gold ratio went to 70, that means silver's going to about $70. So a lot of upside. I think there's potentially M&A activity in Mexico in silver mining. Mexico is the home of silver. But, you know, people forget that, and there's reports coming out at the moment that China is looking very carefully about the export and potentially stockpiling actually three critical metals at the moment, which is tin, silver, and indium. And they're doing that for a very good reason. These are not always seen as very important industrial critical metals, but they are. And the other thing is actually there's a lot of similarities between Mexico and Cornwall, believe it or not, although we don't have the banditos down in Cornwall. But the way it has been mined extensively in the past and helped create empires, but none of the wealth left in the country or the county. Very, very similar, but and also still huge opportunities in both. So it's going to be a really interesting trip. But I'll be leaving you, Paul, to talk to colleagues for 2 weeks.
Okay, very good.
All right, very quickly, there's not a huge amount out today. Let's start off Pulsar Helium, which we like. We find helium very attractive commodity. It's quite a tricky one. People tend not to understand it terribly well. But they've got a non-binding 12.5 million term sheet, haven't they, Paul? But just talk us through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. This is a expression of interest from University Bank, which is Michigan-based regional bank, to provide $12.5 million US in construction finance for its helium processing plant on the Topaz project in Minnesota. And the bank is also a shareholder in Pulsar at this point. It's a 4.9% shareholder. So this is a very positive news. There are some conditions precedent which need to be matched that I won't go into, but are in the press release. But the key point, I think, is that with a regional bank getting involved in the what is the raw material extraction sector, and particularly one which is more sustainability sensitive, like the state of Minnesota, I think that's pretty good news, actually.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a really interesting project. The stock hasn't been going anywhere for a while, really, because there's not been a lot of news flow. I think the news flow could get a lot more interesting towards the back end of this year, and therefore we could start to see quite a lot of activity. So I would be keeping a very close eye on Pulsar Helium at the moment. Paul, do you want to talk about Asiamet Resources? They're starting to move forward, aren't they?
Yes, they are. The latest piece of news out from Asiamet indicates that they are now drilling on a limestone project about 12 kilometers from their flagship BKM copper SXEW heap leach project on the island of Kalimantan, there in the center of the country. Just to remind investors that limestone or lime, activated lime, is the pH buffer chemical that's added to the sulfuric acid leach solutions, which extract the copper from a heap leach. And controlling that pH, therefore, is vital to maximize the efficiency of recovering the copper back out of solution in the circuit. So that's why if you could have a local limestone source to your copper operation, it saves on logistical costs and purchasing costs of buying that lime.
No, I mean, this is a project, obviously, you know, we remember it right back to the days when it was called Kalimantan Gold. And that was, 15, 20 years ago. It's really struggled to get off the ground. Clearly operating in a difficult jurisdiction where ownership and that sort of thing is always under question mark. But it's about to get. Is it about to get going, Paul? Or what do you think?
Oh, I think it's still a little time to go yet. They still have to really confirm the construction capex finance here at this point. But the fact that they are proceeding here means that there is interest in order to move the project further along to final investment decision.
Oh, well, we'll just carry on watching this spot then. Anything else you want to mention, Paul?
Yeah, I have to mention Solgold story there. Solgold with some drilling results on their Tandayama porphyry, which is off to the just a kilometer to the northwest of the Alpala, a big underground bulk deposit there on their Cascabel project in Ecuador. This particular drilling is part of the feasibility, delayed and otherwise revised feasibility study they're doing on Cascabel in order to bring the Tandayama porphyry into the earliest stage of production there on the project as an open pit mine. And just to say, they had chosen to delay the feasibility study on Alpala back several months ago, and then just several weeks ago, the board had made the final decision to go ahead and drill off Tandayama as the first production scenario at the site. And now we know why. The latest drill hole indicates the deposit actually comes to surface at high grade with an intercept over 100 meters thick, grading 1% copper. So that kind of proof of the pudding there.
Excellent. Well done, Paul. We'll call it a day there. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back September. Paul will be back Monday. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.